There are a lot of hot-button issues up for debate during this session at the Maine State House. A big one is how to fund homeless shelters throughout the state.
Shelter providers say if they don't get funding by the summer, there will be layoffs and closures. There's already one shelter in Bangor that's ready to call it quits this year. News Center Maine's Jack Mulmud has more from Augusta.
Brian and Amanda, this really is not just a crisis for homelessness in Maine, but it's also a crisis in terms of finding money to fund homeless shelters. Now, homeless shelter providers say that before this year, their low barrier shelters were funded through pandemic relief funds. They say, though, this year they are behind now by almost $4 million. The hope is the Housing Committee, made up of several lawmakers, will take up two bills. One bill would fund regular, normal homeless shelters. The other bill would fund low barrier shelters, which service people addicted to drugs and with sensitive mental health care needs. Now, Hope House in Bangor is a low barrier shelter, and the people who run it say that if they don't get a partner or more funding, they will shut down this year. They currently have 56 beds for people in Penobscot County. Meantime, Mid-Maine Homeless Shelter says they could be forced to do layoffs.
This time next year, we will literally have hundreds of unsheltered people living in tents in Maine. We rise and fall together. What happens to one of us really happens to all of us. So it's more important that we communicate that this is not an issue that is just specific to Portland or Bangor, but this is a whole of state issue.
Now, to put things here in perspective, in the state of Maine, there are only 5 low-barrier homeless shelters serving a total of about 400 beds. Now, we reached out to Governor Janet Mills' office to see if she would be in support of funding these low-barrier homeless shelters. We have yet to hear back. In Augusta, Jack Mulmud, News Center, Maine.